drought, it dried up everything. The ground was kissed by lightning. Fire was wild and moving fast, burning shrubs and all the grass.
In Roots and Fire, I look at the way roots in the river basin keep the river's main pollutant, soil, out of the river, where it ultimately washes into the Gulf of Mexico with very bad consequences. In places like this one, pictured on the Winnebago County Soil Survey, you can see how varied and how hilly the landscape is. You can better see this variation in the aerial image of the river taken above Bluffton, Iowa. In the chapter, I talked to landowner Dean Thompson about the way the river keeps carving away bottomland that was once a forest. And I look at the burning of Hayden Prairie, where fire is an essential part of maintaining the deep prairie roots, which means keeping out trees that have a smaller proportion of roots than does prairie. The plowed land next to Hayden Prairie, with no roots to hold the soil in place, is vulnerable to erosion. And I look at how the economy of fire stretched for thousands of years through the archaic period when this stone projectile point was made. Here are some questions. Why are deforestation and the tons of soil lost into rivers more often associated with Amazonia than the upper Midwest? What lessons might the prehistory of the upper Iowa Basin hold for contemporary use of land and water? 2. Does the long relationship of people with the upper Iowa landscape give you any hints about the nature of people's future in the place?
Chucked across the forest floor, the remnants of what came before, the refuse of a recent history.
In the 4th chapter of the book, I look at animals on the move, particularly birds, and the way prehistoric people lived a life on the move and connected with animals. I begin with the woodland period, when people built mounds like these near the mouth of the river, and the oneota period, which produced pots like this one. I look at the archaeological career of Ellison Orr, who studied the river basin. And I include the life and views of Pete Fee, a member of the Iowa tribe living near the mouth of the river in New Albin when I wrote the book. This Catlinite tablet depicts a half-man, half-hawk figure. I consider the way that objects like this one and Indian mounds like this bird mound sketched by Ellison Orr show an interest in animals. Descendants of prehistoric Indians lived and still live in clans named after animals like the passenger pigeon, which was once so plentiful here it darkened the sky, but which, like the clan named after them, are now gone. Here is a sketch by Orr of the important prehistoric sites where Waterloo Creek, Bear Creek, and the Upper Iowa all converge. Use it to help imagine the thousands of persons who made their home along the river in the over 2,000 years I consider in this chapter. Some questions to consider. How might prehistoric people's worldview as it connected to plants, animals, water, soil, and air compare or contrast with our own? And 2, how does the physical old world of the river compare or contrast with the current physical world of the river? What role did human choice play in the way the river has changed? I begin Chapter 6 talking about this place, where Coldwater Creek rushes from the base of a cliff, and where, in 1970, divers discovered the largest cave in Iowa and Minnesota. The exploration of that cave is ongoing, part of it to chart the sources of extreme pollution in the stream. Up against that current exploration, I look at the first European-American exploration of the river from the time when the Upper Iowa was part of what was called Louisiana, or New France, through its claim by the Spanish, until it was acquired by the United States of America through the Louisiana Purchase. While all these Europeans and Euro-Americans laid claim to the river basin, it remained home to a succession of people who had lived there for hundreds of years, people like the Iowa, and the Dakota, like Chief Wabasha, and eventually to people who were pushed west by Euro-Americans. The Ho-Chunk Winnebago, the Fox and Sac like Chief Blackhawk, whose campaign against U.S. forces ended just across the Mississippi from the mouth of the Upper Iowa. The chapter includes the exploits of the first federal explorer of the area, Zebulon Pike, and the first federal survey of the river under Nathan Boone in 1832. Here are some questions. What function did the rivers serve for people, Indians, traders, and federal explorers in this period? And 2, how did the Louisiana Purchase change the situation of Indians in the river basin? Can you think of similar examples where a political or economic decision by a powerful group alters the lives of distant people?